Hey guys, welcome to Coast Connection. We got Dr. Laura and Lieutenant Colonel Johnson on with us, better known call sign JJ, aka, and Mike GME in the house as normally in Tampa. Hey, you know, guys, we talk about military families and we talk about deployments, we talk about service members. The greatest thing about service members is the cards we get when we're deployed. And you know what? You look at the World War II veterans, they still hold on to some of the letters they got, those that are still around. The Vietnam vets, the letters to Nam, those letters that are being published in books now, all the Vietnam vets that received letters during their time in Vietnam and how precious they are. And myself and Mike knows for a fact that I got a lot of letters when I was in Iraq and it made CNN. And which really touched my heart to understand that when you get those letters, how you shape the world, but you always got to pay it forward and pay it back. So Dr. Laura and JJ, welcome to the show. How are you guys doing? And, you know, take your time, Dr. Laura, where are you located?
I'm in New Hampshire where, you know, the maple syrup's flowing, the leaves are changing, and it's going to snow any minute.
And hey, JJ, where are you at, my man?
I'm actually in Maryland, stationed basically in the DC area.
Oh, all right, man. My mom lives in Alexandria, so when I come up, I'm going to have to touch base with you. Because she used to be at Bolin Air Force Base.
Okay,
all
great.
right, so Dr. Laura, here's the deal. How did you get started on this holiday cards for the military and getting them out to the warriors out there in the world? And how'd you end up partnering with JJ to grow what you guys got going on? Because I'm sure there's a story behind the story. So let's start with you, because ladies first, and then we're going to bounce over to JJ.
They're very nice. And we do have a good story for this forever friend and partnership. This started 19 years ago. I decided that my children, now I'm the grandmother, but they were going to write cards for military members at Thanksgiving. You know, they're away from home. There's an empty chair at a lot of tables. So I called it a ticket for turkey. And seriously, if they wanted to eat turkey, they were going to write a card. And we did. Oh, yeah, I'm serious. And, you know, they looked at me a little like, what are you talking? But I'm the mom. So they did it. And we sent them for 14 years until 2017. I wanted to teach them, by the way, I wanted to teach them lessons in gratitude, right? Patriotism, community service, and how such a small but tangible, hold on to it gift to somebody you don't even know can make a huge difference. And JJ and I, Lieutenant Colonel, JJ and I talk about the connections that it caused. And, you know, we didn't get cards back. We wrote them out. So, you know, the gift of giving. I think Denzel Washington, I love this. I watched a reel, whatever that is. He did this hashtag attitude of gratitude. So that's what's happening in my house. So 2017, we had a friend deployed. I thought it was like a little boat. It's an aircraft carrier, 5,000 people. I call it a challenge. We get 17,000 cards because I'm not shy, as you might see. I can tell. So I started calling people. I mean, we're New Hampshire. We call the White House. We call the governor. We just call. We call Walmart. Hello, this is Laura. And so each year we've gotten more and more cards. We average, I think, Lieutenant Colonel JJ, you can tell me, about 120,000 a year, but we're up to 600,000, and 595,000 have been since 2017.
Wow, so, that's a big number. You guys are like a machine now.
Machine. And they all come into this house and they all go out through this little post office in Hollis, New Hampshire, which they do love that business once a year. You know, drop 20,000. They're very happy. But it takes it out. You know, I got a lot of hashtags. JJ knows this. Everything is a hashtag to me now. So a hashtag, it takes a village, and it's just incredible what a community can do. And all 50 states now are involved, all 50 states. So late 2017, I think, JJ, I got a number of a guy who maybe could help. So I get on the phone and I call, and he'll tell you the story, but I went, hello, my name is Laura. I'm a psychologist. So this is what it means. And I'm a grandmother and I'm from New Hampshire. What are you doing? And then he'll tell you what happened.
Go ahead, JJ.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, I just call her the queen of the cold call. I used to do telemarketing back in the day, but she is the queen of the cold call. And this is how it all started. So at the time I was stationed in the Pentagon, and I happened to be at my desk one of the few times, and the phone rang, and I'm working. I'm like halfway. That's right. That's right. So anyway, so I'm in the Pentagon and I'm working and I get this call and I'm just waiting for her at any moment as she's giving me her pitch to ask for my credit card, right? Because I know this is a scam. And so she's talking to me and everything, but what hit me was I started listening because she's trying to talk to me about the power of, when you're deployed and receiving cards and with the powers of connection. And then what she didn't know at that time was she was trying to convince me of something that I was already fully vested in. So I had been deployed to a unit over 3 years, continual deployment, come back again, again, again. And it was a little place on the base called Jack's Place, run by the chapel. And Jack's Place was filled with all of these donations of cards and care packages and everything. And they would just send them. And so what we would do is we would get off of work and we would go to Jack's Place and we would take the cards and we would take the packages and like have them up. So that way when people were, deploying, they had a place that had number one free Wi-Fi, which you always need.
That's an Air Force
AC,
thing.
yeah, you have to have it. You have to have it, right? And then you had AC, and you also had like a lot of people, you deploy, you miss birthdays, you miss events, and so you would come in and you'd find a free card that was blank and you could fill it out, or you had the stack of cards from kids around the world saying thank you for your service and all that stuff. So before I met the doc, for years I had been volunteering at Jack's Place. Like that was my outlet when I deployed. I went to Jack's Place so I could reconnect. And so here it is, years later in the Pentagon, this New Hampshire grandmother's calling me at work, telling me why I want to do something like that. And that's how we became friends and partners.
Oh, awesome. So let me ask you this though. Since you had your deployments, do you have a family, JJ?
Absolutely. I do.
Right. So I'm gonna honestly tell you, even though like my wife would write and everybody would write, it was so awesome to get something from like total strangers and especially students, because they'd be asking questions. So when I got the letters from the kindergarten students the first time about being the gingerbread man,
That's right. That's right.
I worked through it, and then I realized how important it was and how powerful it was. How did I know that 13 years later I'd be on Good Morning America, CNN, I would be on the CBS talking about these kids being my pen pals, because what I learned is the power of what you two are doing. I'm a recipient of that. I understand that the strength that you guys are bringing to the table, Doc Laura. I mean, I just had a soldier sadly say, made a bad decision after years in the military, just had a dark moment, and we no longer have her with us. But I remember when she was many years ago, she was going through certain things, is that she would get cards and she would read things and how it uplifted her. I think nowadays, since we've come out of the Afghanistan, Iraq, and we've moved back in the pandemic, and we've moved back more into garrison, what we call it in the Army garrison. More and more, I think we need these cards. I think soldiers are going through a lot of more anxiety, stress, and mental things that they've fostered over the last 10 or 12 years. And we need to do a better job like the Vietnam vets that we didn't do. But I think your process of what you guys are doing and bringing to the table helps some of those individuals cope with what they're dealing with. And Dr. Laura, I'll pause there.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. The three of you know from experience. I mean, my relatives who were in the military, we're talking World War II, the Korean War. So it's a bit removed from me, but I remember them talking about getting letters, and you both got them, or Mike, your family got letters, and maybe you still see them. There's the grandmother piece of me for sure, and that's the one I will use. Hello, it's a grandmother. You can't say no. I mean, when the primary in New Hampshire was, that none of those candidates were going to say no to a grandmother from New Hampshire. But as a clinical psychologist, I know that these are tethers to home. And I've heard, the feedback we get is beautiful. One military member said it was a difference for him between despair and joy. Right. And so do you know what a transitional object is, you guys? Like when
you're the psychologist, so we're in the chair right now. So we're listening.
All right, you're in a chair, and I'm telling you that a transitional object is something that you can hold on to. It's tangible, right? And you take it or you receive it and you have it, you hold it. It's a bridge between home and wherever you are. So in my office, I have a picture of my family. In my car, I have this little thing hanging from the mirror. It's like my kid made, probably 40 years ago. So um, it's that bridge. So these cards are like that. I mean, remember when you did a sleepover? Let's confess, guys. You took maybe your teddy bear or your blankie with you. I know you did. I know you did. Mike's telling me. Look at you all.
I know I did. I'm not gonna lie.
You're all blushing. You're all
had the blankie, yeah.
Yeah, I still have my teddy bear. I mean, he's quite old now, but I have him. So these cards are like that. They're like your teddy bears. So whether or not the recipient knows who wrote it or ever has contact with them, although we would like to do a pilot pen pal program, it's that tangible. It's a gift, and they can hold on to it. And like you said, Vince, I've heard stories of people holding on to these cards since World War II. A man contacted me and said he found in his father's trunk after he passed a letter written in 1943. And it had been worn out because he figured his dad opened and closed it and opened and closed it so many times. And a Vietnam War veteran here in New Hampshire said he has his up on the wall of his family room because it got him through the war.
Oh yeah.
So
oh yeah.
It's powerful. It's the connection. And JJ can talk, like you guys are talking about. It's a connection. That's what we're all about. Here's another hashtag. Ready? Hashtag cards to connect with the number 2 to make it snappy. But cards to connect, right, JJ?
And so, yeah, and great. So great segue. So JJ, let me ask you this question from service member to service member. All right. So how are you paying this forward? Because now that you're commander, and you've seen the metamorphosis of what soldiers have been through. You've and being a commander, you've dealt with the ups and downs, soldiers having a lot of stress in their lives. You've dealt with soldiers trying to find themselves. So as a commander now, not just working with the letters, and this is a kind of a little serious thing here, as a commander now that you understand that the people are the backbone of any service, how are you approaching this and trying to make sure that this is a part of your command that you bring into their lives and say, hey, look, you're not alone?
No, that's a great question. And I want to step back for a second. Something that you said that just music upon my ears is connections. So the reason why we do this, the foundation of what we do is connections. And you mentioned something about, people deployed and everything. So a couple of years ago, when COVID happened during the pandemic, we met and we said, well, we're probably not going to get a lot of, we had 2 years of continuous growth. And we said, okay, we're not going to get a lot of cards this year. So we're going to figure out how to scale back operations. So then what I found is the reason why we send cards is because people at that point, our business model was people who were deployed, the separation, the anxiety, the lack of connectivity, like all those things that comes with being associated with being away from home over the holidays. So I talked to the doc and the board, and I was like, hey, you guys, as an active military member, what I would tell you is those feelings of separation, anxiety, uncertainty, they exist in all of our military members right now, stateside as well. So what we need to do during the pandemic is transition. So we made two chief transitions, and thank you for that. We also started sending cards to CONUS, basically members in the states, but we also started sending cards to families who serve just as much as
Awesome.
members. Absolutely. So we found a way to bridge those gaps, and that's what we like to say, reducing that airspace between the public and the military, right? So that's how we got there, that connectivity. Now fast forward to here in 2022. So when I first took command, I've only been in command for 3 months, and I always talk about this. When I go around and I met my troops, 2 words that fell on my ears that just, that really, made me perk up and listen is before COVID. Before COVID, we did this, and before COVID, we did that. And so what I heard is, we are disconnected, and we as human beings are eager and hungry to reconnect with someone in some way, some shape, some form. So to me, that's my day job and that's what I do. But this right here is a passion project. And I think that we feed our souls by having those passion projects. And so for me, there's actual connectivity between those two. So there's not really a lot of space in doing the card challenge and being a commander, because at the end of the day, anything that we can do to enhance connection between human beings is a great thing to do.
Oh man, you couldn't have said it any better. Me and Mike G actually, man, were you in the room when we were talking earlier today? Because
Yeah.
we were having this conversation. Me and Mike G were earlier today about, people look at like our podcast and they don't realize it's about the human network. It's about the connectivity of bringing great ideas together. And you sometimes can't monetize that. You can't always base everything you do when you're bringing the human network together. And so I'll pause there. Mike, do you have anything? Because you're always flipping pictures and everything else, brother. You got anything for the group?
I kind of do, because I'm outside looking in, and you doing, guys, once again, doing a great job. How do you put it together? Like, it seems like a big job. What are the steps? How do you know what unit to put it in, who to take it, who to write, and who to send it to? Do you like get a list of the units of who's out there, of the list of people and stuff like that? That's the curiosity. Once again, guys, I'm outside looking in. I'm not never been in the military. My parents have been Air Force, uncles, Marines, stuff like that. But you guys are doing a big project, and it's just like, okay, I'm thinking to myself, this is kind of interesting, because you taking thousands upon thousands of stuff, and you're connecting, you're networking with people, you're connecting, you make them feel good. So if you can go through the steps and how do you pick your people, your units, and stuff like that, that'd be great.
All right. Well, the how-to is great, and I will say in advance, the address is J.J. Johnson, Lieutenant Colonel J.J. Johnson, Commander J.J. Johnson.
Love it.
He is the king of addresses. I mean, I can do a cold call, but somehow, I don't know, these remote bases here and there all over the world. He finds them. I have a list. All right. I'm confessing, not very high tech. They're all handwritten. Get me to be high tech. I'm working on an Excel spreadsheet, but I don't think I can do it. But the how-to of doing this, Mike, is kind of crazy. First, there's a lot of cold calls. There's a lot of emails. I'm like the email, like, I don't know, like ferocious email person. And I keep emailing. And, we try and make it, here's the thing. We try and make it easy. We try and make it meaningful. And we try and make it fun, because people learn and best, I think, with those kinds of that kind of background noise. When we call and say, how would you like to join in, whether it's a huge national corporation or a little dance studio, they want to have fun, they want to learn something, and they want to get it done. So, we either hand out cards, because people donate the heck out of cards, because also, Mike and Vinny, if you go to your basement, or I don't know in Florida if you have basements, but wherever, you have extra unused holiday cards. And I mean, whether it's Hanukkah, Festivus, Kwanzaa,
Yes.
I don't care. You got 3 left over. And so people donate all of those, and or they make them, because all it takes is a piece of paper, fold it in half, glitter, glue, whatever. And we have drop boxes in New Hampshire. We have drop boxes all over, and then we have them in New England, and they can mail them to us. And I think maybe you can put up the address. If they just go to the website, ready? MilitaryHolidayCardChallenge.com. Every bit of guideline you ever wanted is there. And then they're bundled up, and then we got a QR code now, which JJ can talk about, my high-tech friend, because we want to hear more from the recipients, and they're boxed in 1,000. We have a sponsor, a box program. So, 1,000 cards, $100, or a nonprofit. Your name's slapped all over that box from Lowe's, and we send them out. And I'm not sure if Mike, I might have sent you a picture of me falling asleep amongst the boxes and boxes of cards. But I literally, my husband came into the house, because they all come into my house. Or they go into JJ's house in Maryland, and I fell asleep, sound asleep. He just turned the light out and let it go. But we send them out, and it works. It is a hands-on, volunteer-driven, bundle them up. We proofread all the cards to make sure that they're good to go, and then we send them out. We're also doing a little, which I want to say later maybe, but we want to know, I think, JJ, this was genius. What is your why? Like, we want to know why people are reaching out, why people are doing community service. So we got a lot of good stuff going on, but the how-to is very simple, and there are guidelines, even writing prompts. Well, there's our military, one of the recipients. He just got so many cards, he passed out.
I tell you what, I'm going to get my TMC Thurgood Marshall Club at Newsom High School. And I probably talked to the Durant football high school team, or our coach also. And we'll probably try to partner with you guys and get some cards out to some service members this year. So, Dr. Laura, I really appreciate you touching on. All right, JJ, before we get out here, you got to finish off what she was saying, man.
Bring it home.
Yeah, no doubt. So just to speak a little bit to what Mike says, as the typical military guy, I'm process-driven person. So we do have a deliberate process for how we get cards to members. One of the things that we talked about from the beginning is, hey doc, we got to make sure that number one of our primary considerations is security. Because when individuals are overseas and everything like that, or wherever they are, we hold our address list and our contacts as sacred trust.
Cool.
Because we want to make sure the importance of operational security. She's on board with OPSEC now, so we all understand.
I got it.
She got it. So so we do that. So Mike, that was a good question. But so some of the things that we do every year is that we always look for incremental ways to grow. So we started the first year, then we had #CardsToConnect. Then what is your why? The reason why we came up with what is your why is because whenever we go and meet individuals, they share their stories. My dad was in Vietnam. I was deployed. What you guys are doing great. And we hear these stories. And what I told the doc is I was like, hey, as part of our feedback loop and mechanism, let's take those individuals, get them to record a short video and share that with other individuals as well. Because again, that's another form of connection. Because within each story, most of the time, someone is going to be able to see themselves within that story, right? So that's another way for us to connect. So we do that, and one thing and every year we have something new. So this time, you get your pack of 10 cards and everything like that, and we have on top a QR code that takes you to our page, and you could just take a picture and then show the picture of yourself with your cards or whatever, and then we could share with individuals, again, just trying to get that feedback mechanism.
All right, so so let's fast forward real quick. Are you social media platform, Instagram, TikTok, or Twitter? Are you guys all over the social media? Hashtag Twitter.
Yep.
The only thing we don't have is Twitter. I'm trying to figure out, someone has to teach me that. I think JJ, my children, will say I might be too wordy for Twitter. So
that's right. 30 characters or something.
I don't think I can pull it off. Facebook is Holiday Card Challenge. Instagram, it's all new and it's very trendy now. That's also Holiday Card Challenge. LinkedIn, where we met, which is Holiday Cards for Our Military Challenge, or Dr. Laura Landerman Garber, and we got that.
Hey, well, I met you third party. I mean, we did the Steve Jobs thing. Somebody knew you, introduced me to you, and now here we are. You know what I'm saying? It works. LinkedIn does work, people.
Connect, it does, and connect, as we say, connection. Absolutely. We need it. We crave it. I know it as just a human being and as a professional that we are hungry for it. And if this is a little bit of way to feed our own hearts and feed the hungry hearts of our military members and their families, then I hope people will join in. We're so grateful that you invited us on. It's this is wonderful.
All right. So before we close out, JJ, my man, if you had any advice and you wanted to give it to young people or anyone out there, what would be that words of wisdom that you would leave on this planet that would be seen on Spotify, Apple, or whatever? What words would you give to someone, or a quote that you think in your heart that you would give to leave someone with some advice in your sandprints in the sand?
Oh, that's such a hard question, Vince. As the doc knows, if you looked at my YouTube playlist, you will see all of these guys, in the morning that I listen to every morning when I work out, right? But and if you can see a picture of my desk, you can see everything that I've written. So what I'll do is I'll just read whatever comes closest to me, because it's
all right, because you're all yoked up anyway, man. I go at 3:30, but I mean you got that David Goggins going on, bro.
All the time, right? So here we go. This is the one that's in front of me that I have written on my desk. Do not go where there is a path. Go where there is no path and leave a trail.
Love it. Is that Thoreau or Emerson or Martin Luther King? I know it's, I know it's one of those.
Yeah, absolutely. I have them all over my desk. So the thing is this, I think if I had to have a big picture, I would say this: surround yourself with the things that you want to become, right? Mm-hmm. Where you are right now is just a reflection of your current state, but surround yourself with the things you want for your future state that is going to enhance you as a human being.
Oh, love that, man. Love that. So, Dr. Laura, same question. I flip it over to you. What do you got, my lady?
Well, I would say I have two favorite books that guide my life. One is To Kill a Mockingbird, which is,
Phenomenal book. I mean, phenomenal. For
It's
its time, absolutely phenomenal.
a first time, and in it, the scout, who I very much identify with in so many ways, she says, you never know what's going on in someone's life.
That's
until
true.
you walk around in their shoes. And so these cards, for example, are gifts because you're trying to think about what somebody else might be going through. The other leading guideline for me is Anne Frank, the Diary of Anne Frank, which says, in spite of it all, and we are in the midst of, in spite of it all in our world, I believe that people are basically good.
Yes. Yes. All right. So, guys, I appreciate you both. Lieutenant Colonel Johnson, JJ, my man, AKA, and Dr. Laura. I really appreciate you coming on. Mike G, do you have any words of wisdom before we bounce out of here, my man?
It's been great meeting you guys. Thank you for coming by. You're doing a great job. Keep it going. And like Vince says, he'll present it at his club and keep it moving. And you guys doing a great job. 5 million, trillion, and just it's phenomenal. Like I said, outside looking in, you guys doing perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having us.
And I appreciate you both. And as I always tell everyone, we have to change the world. It starts with one individual making a decision to do the right thing every day when no one's looking. And as we do that, the world will be a better place to live. And as me and Mike G always say before we get out of here, keep it rolling.